Hello, everyone. Welcome back to. Well, I don't really know what this is. This is kind of an observation, conversations, reactions mini episode. But Disney Plus Day was a couple days ago, and you've seen some of these trailers, but I have not.
Yes.
And there isn't much new footage to look at, but it's all Marvel related, and we are a couple of fanboys, so.
Yes, we are. Still waiting on that check, Disney.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the mail's just been very slow.
Yeah, but we just wanted to kind of record a mini episode and kind of talk about these things because, I think the implications. I mean, there's a lot of titles that we'll get into,
Yes.
which is gonna be big. But
Absolutely.
yeah, just I don't know, enjoy this kind of mini episode.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think you have it exactly right. You know, Disney Plus Day was a couple days ago, and it was big. Although I think I'm pretty safe in saying it wasn't quite as big as perhaps we were braced for.
Yeah.
I think we got a grand total of about less than 90 seconds of new footage for the upcoming Disney Plus Marvel stuff, which is still great, but very exciting. And we, we're going to cover those three upcoming shows in a moment. But nothing really in terms of new trailers for any upcoming show or movie. We did get a bunch of title reveals, which is exciting, and we'll talk about that as well. But it was, I think, probably a lot more low key than a lot of us were expecting. I don't
think it was as big as like Netflix's To Doom or
DC fandom.
Yeah,
it definitely feels more low key compared to those, almost to a bizarre degree, because of course the Book of Boba Fett trailer came out just 2 weeks ago, and that is of course the biggest thing that's coming on Disney Plus for the foreseeable future. But they dropped it 2 weeks before Disney Plus Day and not on Disney Plus Day.
Yeah,
which I think is strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we do have a little bit of new stuff. But really, mainly it was upcoming Disney animation stuff coming to Disney Plus with Baymax, some upcoming Pixar stuff. We got a little bit of a behind-the-scenes thing for Obi-Wan, but really it was just a 14-minute long, essentially just a pretty much a video, not even a stream, just a video posted to Disney Plus on, I believe it was the 12th was Disney Plus Day. And these very brief kind of first glimpses, not even first looks, first glimpses into the 2022 Marvel slate of Disney Plus shows. So yeah, it's kind of like feast or famine.
It is. It's what it's. Yeah.
But at the same time, watch us turn 90 seconds of new footage into a 90-minute video here because it's Marvel.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
So, I guess without further ado, let's check out this first look at Moon Knight.
I can't tell the difference.
Is that Oscar Wilde?
Between my weight
Oscar Isaac.
Isaac, not Oscar Wilde, not the author. Yeah, Oscar Isaac.
That would be very impressive if it was Oscar Wilde.
Then resurrected from the dead.
in your head.
I think he's gonna be great in this. I love Oscar Isaac.
Oh yeah.
It devours you.
That was a weird audio scream cut. Like it to me that just it wasn't mixed. Can you play that again? It did not sound mixed well at the very end. Yeah, there's just like a.
And we should acknowledge that normally we would watch these trailers on the official channel, but Disney hasn't even posted these first looks on their own official channels. So we're having to go to second and third parties for all this footage. So sorry if there's any odd audio or mixing or anything like that.
Disney,
but,
what are you doing? What are you doing? Why?
I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm not even sure why they made it a Disney Plus Day like it was going to be a big event, when it was essentially just very brief first looks at, their upcoming stuff in 2022.
Yeah, so Moon Knight is basically like an insane guy that fights crime. It's far I
Yeah,
know.
I
And
mean-
I think he's insane because of magic. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so-
I'm not too familiar with the character, but I know he also sometimes likes to break the fourth wall like Deadpool, but isn't
Yeah.
quite as self-aware.
Yeah, in fact, honestly, I think with all three of these, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel, you're going to see a little bit more of that fourth wall breaking kind of characterization.
Yeah.
But basically, from what I know, and I don't know a ton about Moon Knight by any means, but from what I know about the character, it's essentially, do you remember, I believe David McAvoy, his character in Split? I think that's his name.
Yeah.
Is it David? I don't know if
I'm
it's
not
David
sure.
or Will
But it's
or
the guy with the split personalities. And
exactly. He's
crazy.
Professor
And, like,
X in the new X-Men movies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, but yeah, you've seen Split, right?
I actually haven't, but I know
Oh.
enough about it to. I get
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. So
Like, one of his
basically,
personalities is he's like a beast, and he just becomes super strong out of nowhere.
exactly. Yeah, he's essentially got this. It's split personality. I think no, it's I believe the actual medical term is fractured, or it's not, the medical term isn't split personalities,
Dissociative
but
identity.
like
disorder?
dissociative identity. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he's got these 17 different personas all living inside the same body and competing to essentially, be in charge. Moon Knight is kind of like that, where he is essentially inhabited by. It's all very magical. He's inhabited by the Egyptian god of the moon, and it causes him to take on these various. It causes him to disassociate between his daytime personality and his Moon Knight personality, and then that also fractures into various other personalities. He has one personality where he's like this super rich socialite guy. He has this other personality where he's like a cab driver, and it's pretty much just like that Split character, except a little slightly less psychopathic and slightly more vigilante-ish,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
But only slightly.
I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams.
And so there you go. He can't tell the difference between his waking life and his dreams.
Yeah.
I'm
Because he's
really
probably
excited.
not dreaming. He's just like.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm really excited to see Oscar Isaac in this. He's a really great actor. I think we all agree his talents were definitely wasted as Poe in the Star Wars sequels, where he never had much to do other than just be the macho pilot guy. But this definitely seems like it's going to be a very meaty role for him, playing these different personalities and not really having a firm grasp on what his reality is.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge for most actors.
Yeah.
It devours you.
Definitely get like Batman vibes too. The way he's like
Yes.
jumping from rooftops.
Yeah. And here you can see, I mean, he's just kind of, snapping out of whatever persona he was just in, and he's like, he
What
doesn't
did
even
I
know
just
how he
do?
got
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
These people are looking at him horrified. I've heard it said, and I think this is a really good metaphor. It must be like, for him, I think his name's like Mark Spector, I think is the character's name. It's like, for him, it must be like when the Hulk turns back into Bruce Banner,
Yeah.
and like all the horrified reactions that he must get from just all of the bystanders and onlookers after the massive destruction that he just caused as the Hulk, and having to just kind of account for all of that.
It devours you.
I think that'll be good. I know in the comics Moon Knight is a funnier character. He's a little bit more humorous. I mean, it straddles the line between like humor and then also like very, very dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope they do that here.
Yeah, this definitely
as-
looks dark.
Yeah, as much as I want like a dark like thriller series, I don't think I want it with Moon Knight.
Mm.
I think
Well,
I'd love to see it with like Blade or something like that, but
Well, I think that may be the direction we're going in, because I definitely think that this is going to be kind of a little bit on the darker side, on the more psychological side.
yeah.
I really hope that it leans into the kind of supernatural and the dark magic stuff, the kind of the undercurrents that we've seen done really well in like WandaVision. I hope we get more of that here. And also, we should note it is set in London, a setting that we just saw prominently in the Eternals.
Yep.
I'm not saying that Dane Whitman will show up in this. He probably won't, but I would be shocked if. Yeah, I would be shocked if.
Knight. Yeah.
Exactly. Who are both in the same place at the same time, didn't cross paths at some point. So
I find it funny. Like there's this whole stereotype about like action movies where it's like all the action always happens in America. Aliens always attack America, and like specifically in New York or DC, and it's always just the United States is in trouble. Yeah. And now they choose to go anywhere else in the world, and it's the one other place that's just as white as America. Now there's people in London. And it's just...
I guess we're just lucky they didn't set in Norway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you see he's looking at his reflection in the glass here, and then the reflection is looking back at him as a separate entity. And also, this is something really cool that I've seen pointed out, and I wanna focus on here. Look in the background of this shot. Do you see this dark figure that's lurking in the background? See the two eyes and the arm?
Oh, yeah.
Let me go back and I can play it for you again. You see?
Oh, yeah.
Like
you can see the crook in the arm.
Exactly. Yeah. There's like some demon that is like pursuing him.
Honestly, that would be so cool if in every single shot where he's like not occupied by the Moon Knight persona, you see that like shadowy entity somewhere in the background.
Exactly.
I would love that. I'd love those like tiny details in movies and TV shows. If they don't do that now, I'm gonna be like kind of disappointed because that'd be so cool.
Exactly.
And they don't even have to reference it. It can just be like a tiny like detail that you can just search for in every shot.
Exactly. So I think that's exactly why Moon Knight is going to be the darker psychological thriller. And yeah, I'm really excited for that. I think that's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
And Oscar Isaac's going to have a lot to do. Yeah, I have a theory for what I think the release order of these three shows is going to be in 2022, but I'll save that for the end.
Okay.
But I gotta say that this is I'm very, very encouraged by what I've seen from Moon Knight.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah,
it looks really good. This is a series, right?
Yeah. This is a 6-episode series. Also, I just have to say, I mean, what a great shot this is. I love this.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That one's a little cheesy. That one's even cheesier, but
yeah, very Batman.
The indoor stuff is very cool.
Yeah, so
good stuff with the lighting. Very nice.
Yeah. So Moon Knight, excited. But again, I mean, and this is true for all of these. I mean, it's so brief. I wish we could have at least gotten teasers, but or at least a teaser for this one. But yeah, very encouraged by what we have here.
This also like now. I remember we had a whole discussion as well as the difference between a teaser and a trailer. And I think we determined that it was the length where like a teaser is up to 1 minute and 30 seconds and a trailer is longer than that.
Yeah.
And it also, trailer kind of gives away the plot, whereas the teaser is just like a couple of cool looking shots. And then you have teaser trailers, which are teaser content with the length of a trailer.
Exactly.
And now you have first looks, which I guess are from 0 to 1 minute in length, and also teaser content, but it's not a teaser because it's it
seems like these first looks are now taking on what the role of the teaser has traditionally been, in that the first looks are, as the name would suggest, literally the first thing you're seeing from the project, and so It's not a teaser in the sense that it's not as long as a teaser, and they really can just get away with showing you a very quick series of vignettes without necessarily providing any narration or anything. But it used to be the teaser was the very first time you were seeing anything from that project. Now the first looks are becoming that, relegating the teaser to So everything just gets pushed back. The
Yeah.
first look is now the teaser. The teaser is now like the trailer 1, and now the trailer is like trailer 2. And if there is a trailer 2, that's really when you're starting to
That's
get
just the
a
movie.
very, very good, a very good.
You watch the
picture of
first
what the
2
movie's gonna
trailers,
be.
you've seen the movie.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta be if you're one of those militantly anti-spoiler people, which I sometimes am. You've got to be careful with trailer 2s because that's when you're starting to get a lot of kind of background on stuff. So
Loki, that's why I'm actually kind of scared to watch the next Spider-Man
mm.
No Way Home trailer whenever it comes out.
Yeah,
I'm worried it's gonna like reveal too much.
Yeah, we just got a new poster. Yeah, we just got a new poster for No Way Home, which gave us some good tidbits.
I mean, that just straight up confirmed Green Goblin, like Sam Raimi Green Goblin.
Yeah, and Sandman too, which was not something that we saw in the teaser.
People kind of, I mean, we saw like the lightning and we saw the sand explosion, and people kind of figured that we were gonna see Sandman, but
but up until then, that had just really been speculation. Like Electro had already been confirmed, Dr. Octopus had been confirmed, and the teaser gave us enough to confirm Green Goblin, but we hadn't. But Sandman had been mostly speculation. So I'm with you. I think that when the full length trailer does come out, which actually I guess it was a full length trailer. So I guess the trailer 2 when that does come out. You got to be careful if you don't want to get any spoilers. But honestly, if it came out tomorrow, you would have a month between the release and the movie. It's going to be tough to dodge any info whatsoever, especially for people like us who are very dialed into the Marvel sphere.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to just end up watching it anyways. But
yeah, we'll probably do a video on it. But it is odd because, I mean, it is only a month out now. I mean, that comes out on the December 17th, I believe. So yeah, we're cutting it close for that second trailer. Anyway, moving on to She-Hulk. Here we go, 30 seconds.
I'm Jennifer Walters. I'm a normal lawyer. Well, not that normal.
These transformations are triggered by anger and fear.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Okay.
Bow chicka wah wah.
So again, a very, very short first look. Yeah, I mean, there's not much that I can say other than just stating who She-Hulk is. We've got Jennifer Walters, Bruce Banner's cousin, played by Tatiana Maslany, who is she's actually a very exciting get from Marvel because she had an acclaimed turn on Orphan Black. Also, I haven't watched Orphan Black, but I have watched her in Perry Mason, where she was very good. That is a show that came out last summer. So yeah, very, very talented, big name actress. And yeah, she gets a blood transfusion from her cousin Bruce, and that's how she gets similar Hulk-like abilities.
So what does she like say, hey, I want to be a Hulk? Or is there like some emergency and like he's the only living relative that can like get blood or like
in the comics what it was is that she got like badly injured and she needed a blood transfusion and Bruce Banner was the only person who could do it, and so that's how she got the Hulk abilities.
Yeah.
It's not really clear if that's going to be the same in the show because it seems like if we look at here, I think this is the Gamma Lab that Bruce Banner was talking about, or I should say Smart Hulk was talking about in Endgame. So maybe she's getting the powers voluntarily, or maybe she already had the transfusion and now she's just learning how to control the Hulk ability, the Hulk transformation. The big difference between Barbara Walters and Bruce Banner, and actually it's not that much of a difference because as we saw in Endgame, Banner found a way to fuse, to maintain his Banner intellect while also maintaining the Hulk body.
Yeah.
And that's what Barbara Walters has always done in the comics, is instead of going between the human persona and the Hulk persona, she just always prefers to stay in the Hulk form, but she gets to stay with the Barbara Walters personality.
Yeah.
And she's pretty much like this lawyer who specializes in super powered cases and lawsuits and different things. And speaking of fourth wall breaking, I think she's probably one of the most notorious fourth wall breakers in the Marvel comics.
Yeah.
A very self-aware character, kind of similar to Deadpool in that way.
Yeah, and we see that in that, like, the 4x3 VHS looking. She,
which
just looks into the camera.
Yeah, which I love this. I mean, this is very. She even says the "you wouldn't let me when I'm angry" line.
Yeah.
Great callback to the '70s Bill Bixby Hulk TV show, which I love. I've heard it said that because obviously this is very different from everything else that's all the modern day stuff in the show. Maybe this could be connected to the Westview Hex. Maybe this is, this particular somehow. Barbara Walters and Bruce Banner were in New Jersey at the time that was happening, and they got also transformed into this like mid-century aesthetic.
I doubt it.
Yeah, it's probably unlikely because as we see from the title card here, where is it? Yeah, the skyline depicted. This is the Los Angeles skyline. Yeah. So Barbara Walters is in LA. Yeah, maybe could just be like a wink to audience self-aware thing, which honestly I kind of hope that it is, because that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going for. The other thing to point out is that Bruce's arm is now healed.
Yes.
And the other thing that like kind of confuses me is that he's in his like Professor Hulk body, but in the post credits of Shang-Chi, when he's calling in through the hologram, he's in his normal Bruce Banner body.
Yeah.
So it's possible he's also figured out a way to switch between them, and then is helping her kind of jump through training to like get to that point where she can like just call upon this like smart Hulk body when she needs it.
I think so. And so so really, I mean, again, it's so short. There's not so much that we can really take from this. I mean, there is one thing we have to mention, and it's not the She-Hulk physique. That's
a lot of people are talking about that. Shut up.
Yeah, that's been widely noted on the internet already.
Oh my God! Look, a woman. Oh, I'm so scared.
Yeah, that's already been widely noted on the internet. But I think there is something relevant to note about this frame, and that it seems to me that the special effects are still very much being worked on with the She-Hulk form.
Yeah, it looks like they literally just put her through like a color pass.
Exactly.
Color grade filter, just turned her green. And in the comics, she does have a slimmer form compared to the Hulk, which is literally just like a super wide. I'm not gonna comment on what I think her physique should be, because that's not my place. But
the reason I bring it up is because this kind of plays into my theory about the release order of these three shows, because as we've seen for the movies, kind of behind the scenes stuff, the Hulk is very expensive to animate and detail and do all the CGI for. Very expensive, takes a lot of time. And it's the same thing with She-Hulk, especially for a character who's going to be in her Hulk form for most of the time. That is very kind of labor intensive. So I just mentioned it to say keep that in mind, because that plays into what my theory is for the release order of these.
Yeah.
But so also I want to mention this, because I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter have been hating on the new title card. They say the old one was better. Honestly, I mean, I hear you. If that's your opinion, that's fine. I respect your opinion. I like this title card a lot. I really don't mind that they're going with this over the original one. It's very kind of legal procedural nip-tuck sort of title card. That would be so
fun if this show was like a Law and Order SVU type of thing, but that would be cool. And I think that the font really fits that.
Exactly, yeah.
I just want to say, if you're going to complain about any of the title cards or fonts, nothing is going to be as bad as Loki. From a graphic design point of view, nothing is going to be as bad as Loki. So just
Loki was kind of a mess.
Shut up.
Yeah, so people have been hating on it. Honestly, I like the new title card a lot. I think it fits what the show is kind of trying to be perfectly.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's cool that we're going to have a show that's going to be set in LA and on the West Coast. You know, obviously we have like the Ant-Man movies and Shang-Chi in San Francisco, but we haven't had an MCU story set in Los Angeles since the original first two Iron Man films. Well, first three Iron Man. Well, the three Iron Man films.
Yeah. His house.
And
yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, I think it's kind of cool that we can revisit that. And so, yeah, good stuff. Excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop hating on the title card. It's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. So, onwards to Miss Marvel, the shortest of these first looks, and that's saying something. Here we go.
Kamala, let's talk about you.
It's not really the brown girls from Jersey City. Your safe world.
Maybe now they do.
I got this, right?
Totally.
And that's all you get.
Yeah.
So
isn't this one coming out the soonest?
Or is it? Or is it? So just to go through here, here we have Kamala Khan, who, well, as you can see in just a minute here, or no, as we already saw, it goes by so quickly. She idealizes Captain Marvel, absolutely loves her, huge Captain Marvel fan. She's just, she's a Muslim Pakistani American teenager, lives in Jersey City, which, hey, I'm always down for more Jersey representation in the MCU. Honestly, I love it because obviously, we're both from there. But even I have to admit, as somebody who's very proud of having grown up in the Garden State, New Jersey is very overrepresented amongst the states for its size in the MCU. Like, you have Camp Lehigh there, you have Westview there, now you've got Kamala Khan there. Like, there's a lot of stuff happening in New Jersey. Really, it's like the only three states that matter in the MCU are California, New York, New Jersey, and, well, you also have DC, but that's not really a state. So,
yeah.
really, it's just those three states.
I mean, some people think it should be, but that's a whole other, yeah.
Yeah, that's a debate you could have, but as it is now, it's not a state. I just think
the three main U.S. locations, or just the three main Marvel locations: California, New York, New Jersey, London.
pretty much, yeah.
Those are the states that matter the most.
Exactly. So, even as somebody who has got a lot of Garden State pride, I have to admit that New Jersey is a little overrepresented in the MCU lore.
Yeah.
But I'm not complaining.
I mean, you literally just did, but
I'm merely acknowledging. I'm not complaining, merely acknowledging. But yeah, she lives in Jersey City. So in the comics, she's an Inhuman. She gets her powers through contact with the Terrigen Mist. And basically, in the comics, her powers are very similar to Mr. Fantastic. She can grow and stretch and, manipulate her limbs in various ways to do Mr. Fantastic-like things.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, and this series is going to be a little bit different because, as we know, we are going to get an actual Fantastic Four movie in 2023. So apparently what they're doing with this is they're making Kamala Khan more of like a Green Lantern type figure where she can essentially project energy and do various things, where it's going to be like a more of a Green Lantern type thing, like an energy projection type thing, but not like, laser blast, but like, kind of, yeah. You know what I mean, like the Green Lantern type stuff.
Yeah. That's interesting. I don't know how I feel about that, because I feel like, for so many people, Miss Marvel is like such an important character because it, it embodies a very underrepresented demographic. So I feel like any changes to that character are going to be unpopular. But at the same time, I think it would be cool. I mean, I'm not too familiar with the character. My big question is just, how does she get her powers?
Yes, yeah, and honestly, I can see the logic behind it. You wouldn't want to have, for a power that specific, you wouldn't want to have two big name heroes that have essentially the identical ability.
Yeah,
and there really isn't like a Green Lantern type character that I'm aware of coming up in the MCU anytime soon. So it kind of makes sense. But I see what you mean. I mean, there's definitely, you've got the famous Kamala Corps of MCU comics fans who are, who were really brought in by the Kamala Khan character becoming Miss Marvel, and I'm sure will be very protective of the character now coming into the MCU. But yeah, to your point, in the comics she's an Inhuman, but it seems to me that
which is also different from a mutant.
Exactly.
I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, it seems to me that Marvel probably isn't going to be in a big hurry to introduce the Inhumans into the MCU when they already have mutants coming. And also because if they did make her an Inhuman, that would just cause people to remember that god-awful Inhumans miniseries from 2016 that was on ABC, which was like just unbelievably bad. So they're probably going to treat the Inhuman just brand as radioactive, and my guess is they're going to explain her powers as being she's a mutant, essentially.
Yeah, and I feel like they're probably going to combine the Inhumans and the mutants into one.
Exactly.
Big people who now have superpowers that previously didn't.
Exactly. And honestly, what does this transition that we're seeing here remind you of? Monica Rambeau from WandaVision, when she was going through the hex, also in New Jersey.
Shut the fuck up.
Well, I'm saying
new Mephisto.
I'm saying that geographically they're close. Monica Rambeau, she got her powers by going through the hex. That was in New Jersey.
So you think
Kamala Khan is going
the people of the hex may have gotten powers just from being in the hex?
Well, I'm saying that there's something special about Kamala Khan. Maybe she's, maybe she has a latent mutant gene that is activated by either being in proximity to or coming in contact with the hex. That's all I'm saying, because this looks very similar to what we saw with Monica Rambeau. That's all I'm saying. So...
Yeah, I know a lot of people also speculated, like, oh, the snap from Thanos will, and bringing back people who got blipped will, like, activate some mutant gene. And they haven't touched that yet. So that could also be just an easy kind of throwaway explanation. But
well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is because in WandaVision... It was already revealed that Wanda already was a mutant. She had low-level probability hexes that she could use. It was only exposure to the Mind Stone that really, blew up her powers into everything it could be.
Yeah.
And so clearly that's something that's possible. So I'm just saying that my theory is that they're going to say Kamala Khan is a mutant in this. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So we've got a high school setting. I mean, makes sense. Very, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
We've got these mysterious four figures. I'm excited to see who this crew is, but I guess we'll find out. Also, I have to say, I mean, just the, again, speaking of Spider-Man Homecoming, this is so, not even Homecoming, Civil War Spider-Man, where, his whole getup was entirely homemade, and he really was just, a neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This is so like that, where it's like a completely homemade suit, almost like a Halloween costume.
I think that is a Halloween costume.
I think it is a Captain Marvel Halloween costume. And just kind of being a neighborhood hero. I think that's kind of cool. And also, you can see here that if you look at her reflection, but she's not flying though. She's actually creating platforms that she's running across in midair.
Oh, yeah, I like that a lot more.
Yeah. So hence kind of the Green Lantern thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really neat. Yeah, and it's cool, especially after events of the Eternals just so greatly expanded. I would say exploded the level of scale of events happening in the MCU.
Yeah, holy fuck. I mean, we'll get into that.
Yeah, well, you'll be hearing about that from us very soon. But it's nice to be able to have smaller scale adventures where the fate of the universe is not at stake, like Miss Marvel, like Hawkeye. It's good to just have those to keep things in perspective.
Yeah,
Um,
in a comparison, like as great as like WandaVision and Loki were, I think it'll be nice to have other stuff that's kind of that same level as like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where it's very grounded, like one area,
exactly.
simple stories.
Exactly. So that's Miss Marvel. All right.
Actually,
so
before we move on, I just want to say there's one line in that trailer that I really enjoyed, which was typically the people saving the world aren't.
It's not really the brown girls from Jersey City.
Yeah, it's not really the brown girls from Jersey City who typically save the world. I think that is a powerful line, and I think a lot of people are really going to resonate with that.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm glad they're, just kind of doubling down and kind of emphasizing that. Like if they do more like kind of social issue race stuff like they addressed in Falcon, I think that'll be really interesting and really good.
Yeah, I agree completely. And if I had to guess, I think that line is going to be essentially, I think that's going to be the mission statement of this show, kind of the underlying theme throughout. And essentially, just like how WandaVision was essentially just a prelude show for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, this is essentially just the prelude show for the Marvels, where she's going to be teaming up with Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau. So here's my theory for the release order of these, because for the longest time we thought originally the idea was that Miss Marvel would be coming out by the end of this year. Obviously that didn't happen. Hawkeye's kind of taking up the end of year slot, and it was recently confirmed that Miss Marvel not only would it not be the next show after Hawkeye, but it wouldn't come out until Q4 2022, so the end of next year. So that completely reshuffled the board. So here's my theory. We know that of these three, Miss Marvel is going to be almost certainly the last of the three.
Yeah.
If it's not coming out until October, November, December. I think that given the state of the CGI that we see here, this definitely seems unfinished to me. I think this is going to be second. I think this is going to be over the summer. Also, this is the longest of the three series. I think it's like 10 episodes. So I think this is going to be the summer, and then Moon Knight is going to be at some point early next year, probably before Doctor Strange comes out in May. So
yeah, I mean,
somewhere
Moon
between
Knight would also just be the easiest to film.
Exactly,
because minimal CGI.
And honestly, I mean, you look at it. I mean, the footage we have here just looks the most complete of any of the three that we have. So
yeah, it's obviously already all color graded.
Exactly.
They already have written out sequences.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm thinking that it's 6 episodes, so it will almost certainly finish before Doctor Strange comes out. So it'll start no later than March to be finished by the end of April. That's my theory. So yeah, Moon Knight, then She-Hulk over the summer, then Miss Marvel by the end of the year, which will lead directly into the Marvels early 2023. So do you is that the impression that you get?
Yeah, I mean I definitely agree with that. Yeah. I mean I'm surprised that they're pushing back Miss Marvel that far. I don't know why they chose to do that, but I don't know. I mean, we have a good lineup of content for next year anyway, so it's
Yeah, kind of like how this year we had our big 4, well, I guess 5, including What If shows.
Yeah.
Next year we're going to have our big 3. We're going to have Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel.
Plus, movies.
Yeah, plus, we got, how many movies do we have next year? We have like 4 movies.
Yeah, that's probably why there's only 3 shows. Because this year is 5 shows, including What If. 3 movies.
Yeah, and plus we're getting more, whereas we're getting fewer Marvel shows next year, we're getting more Star Wars, because we're also getting Obi-Wan and I think Andor next year too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if The Mandalorian Season 3 is coming up.
I doubt it. That's got to be like 2023.
Yeah, probably 2023. If it is 2022, it'll be at the very end of 2022.
Yeah.
But we are getting Obi-Wan and we are getting Andor. Very pumped for both of those. So yeah. Here's the big takeaway. Is this image here. When it decides to load. There it is. Here it is. Okay, so can you see that all right?
Yeah.
So at the end of Disney Plus Day, at least for the Marvel section, we got a bunch of title reveals. Of course, we already knew about Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, and She-Hulk, but we also got, let's just go down the list here. X-Men 97. A lot of these were just so unexpected. X-Men 97 is going to be a continuation of the classic 90s X-Men cartoon series. That's gonna pick up with the same voice actors, same everything, just pretty much just continue that series 25 years later. So that's pretty cool.
I assume that's not gonna be part of MCU timeline canon.
No. Yeah,
that seems like they're just picking it up as like a revival of a kids show.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just it's pretty much just it's a 100% nostalgia play.
I saw X-Men in the title and I was like, oh fuck, they're really planning something. And then I saw 97. I'm like, are they supposed to have always existed? I'm confused. But
yeah,
if it's a cartoon, that makes total sense.
Yeah, and honestly, if I had to guess, it's definitely not going to be, inside the MCU. It's just continuing the cartoon storyline from the 90s. But if I had to guess, this is actually probably a passion project for Kevin Feige, because the X-Men cartoon from the 90s is really what built up the mainstream popularity of the X-Men, to the point where they then produced the first X-Men film in 2000, which spawned that whole film franchise. And it also spawned Kevin Feige's career as a big Hollywood producer, because his first big producing credit was on X-Men. So he loves the X-Men, and this is kind of his chance to kind of continue on the thing that made him big possible. So that's my guess for how it came to be. And plus, it was one of the most famous and well-liked cartoon series of the 90s. So yeah, bring it back. Why not?
Yeah.
Echo. So this is going to be a character that we're going to meet in Hawkeye. Echo is if I remember correctly, she's a Native American character. She's deaf, and she can essentially do what Taskmaster did in Black Widow, where she can perfectly learn and mimic other people's fighting moves. So she's a fighter, but she can perfectly copy her moves. We're gonna meet her in Hawkeye.
Cool.
And clearly they're pretty bullish about her, because she's getting her own spin-off. So I'm excited to see her in Hawkeye. Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. Spider-Man Freshman Year, another animated series. Don't really know anything about it, other than it looks like it could be animated in the same style of the classic 60s comics. So that's pretty cool. That'll be a really cool animation style if they do that. But I think the most noteworthy thing about it is that this is a Disney-produced Spider-Man. Of course, Sony still very much owns the rights to that character. So obviously it's not going to be the Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man.
They own the movie rights, but I think Disney might actually still own the television rights, because there have been several Disney XD Spider-Man cartoons. So.
Exactly, yeah. So it's definitely not in the MCU, but it is a Disney-produced Spider-Man project, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be cool if they animate it in the 60s style.
The question is, freshman year, is that high school or is that college?
Well, from what we saw, he looks pretty young, so I'm thinking high school. He looks like a pretty little kid.
Yeah. That would make sense.
But yeah, pretty cool. I think all of these, other than She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, are 2023 or later. So none of these are coming out particularly soon. Agatha, House of Harkness. We'll come back to this one. Marvel Zombies. Marvel Zombies. Okay. What If Zombies, episode 5 of What If, was one of the less remarkable episodes.
Really?
Of What If? Yeah,
that was
honestly,
one of my favorite episodes.
Really? I didn't particularly care for it. It wasn't as bad as I was braced for it to be. Honestly, I was dreading the zombies episode. My expectations were very low for that. It was not as bad as I was braced for. But honestly, of all the storylines from What If that I would want to see extrapolated into its own series, that is not it.
Really?
Marvel Zombies was not the one.
I'm surprised because I thought it was really cool. I like the idea of zombies that also have superpowers and like
yeah,
there's a lot more.
and
I felt like that episode had a lot of heart too.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that it's not. I don't believe that it can't be done well. I think it can be done well, but I don't think that if they are going off the template that was set up in What If Zombies, I don't want to see more of that template. I think that one of my big problems with the episode was that I think the tone was very strange. You know, it was oscillating back and forth between obviously this horrifically grim scenario where most of humanity is dead and all of our main characters who we're following, everyone that they know and love is dead, and they have to, you know, members of the team get turned into zombies, and yet they're quipping more than they are in like an Ant-Man movie. Like it's like so silly and such, and they're like cracking jokes about like how, you know, what was it that the Wasp said that I've got Sharon all over me when she gets turned into a zombie? It's like, you know, like why are we quipping so much? Stop quipping. Your friend just died. She was alive a minute ago, and now she's in 17 million pieces. Why are we making jokes? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that I agree with. I think they need to. It's possible to do like a humorous zombie movie, but they definitely need to be more careful about how they ride that line.
Exactly. Yeah. Shaun of the Dead. It was not. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
The thing I'm curious about is, do we know what style that's going to be animated in? Is that going to be a continuation of the What If animation style, or is that going to be like a 2D thing?
I don't know. I think that all of the MCU animation is being done by the same studio, but I don't know if it'll be the exact same style. That's a good question. But yeah, honestly, if it's its own thing and not continuing off of What If Zombies, then sure. I mean, I'm interested enough to check it out, but I don't particularly care to see more from the Marvel Zombies universe. Yeah, it just didn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
Not the worst episode of What If Season 1, but not my favorite by any stretch.
That's fair.
She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, we just discussed those are going to be our big three for next year. What If Season 2? Yeah, I mean, sure, absolutely, you know. Honestly, I wasn't particularly hyped for What If when it came out. I didn't start watching it until several weeks in, but when I did start, I was quite happy with it, you know? It was...
Based on where the finale went, that was really cool. I have no idea how they plan to top that. So I feel like Season 2 is just going to spend more time in some of the pre-established worlds, especially following Captain Carter.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that the thing about What If Season 1 was that it really did vary pretty widely from week to week how much I enjoyed the storyline. There were some weeks where, like the T'Challa Star-Lord episode, I just was checked out. I didn't particularly care.
Was that was that your least favorite? Was that the worst one for you?
Probably. That was probably my least favorite. I'd say that was probably my least favorite. Like the Party Thor episode was like I didn't hate it or even dislike it, but it was kind of like whatever, you know, we're just having a party. It was just pretty much we're just having a party this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I would say probably T'Challa Star-Lord was the one I was most checked out of. My favorite episode.
I gotta go Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange was strong.
Just for that ending.
Yeah, Doctor Strange was strong. Strange Supreme was a good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, Strange Supreme was a good episode. I think mine probably would have been the Killmonger saves Tony Stark. I think that was my favorite.
That
episode.
was also a really good one. Yeah.
Yeah. That was one I liked a lot.
That one felt very true to what the consequences would have been.
Yes. Absolutely.
Whereas like the T'Challa Star-Lord, it's like, I don't know, like why is Thanos a good guy? Oh, because he talked to T'Challa Star-Lord and he's just like such a great guy that he turns everyone good. Why?
And honestly,
fuck you. I don't know. It's just like.
And honestly, I had to dock 3 points automatically when I saw that Nebula had a head of full blonde hair. How the fuck is that possible?
And she was like normal and happy and like.
Yeah, that was just so stupid.
A complete betrayal of the character. Like, she's obviously been tortured her entire life. She's not gonna turn around and be like, ooh.
Yeah, that was, I think, the biggest unintentional laugh, or the biggest laugh that they didn't want to get out of me in the whole series was seeing Nebula with a full head of blonde hair. That was just ridiculous. But yeah, Strange Supreme was really cool. Killmonger Saves Tony Stark was really cool. The finale was really cool, to be sure. I think both of the Ultron, was it? I think it was Ultron. Ultimate Ultron. Yeah, both of those episodes were really cool.
And just the fact that, like, well, okay, I will say, you know, Thanos arrives to Earth and is instantly cut in half by the Mind Stone that Ultron had. No, because then, like, Infinity War and Endgame could have been prevented if Vision just went, like, bloop, and that would have been it. And, like, you know, he just melted the Infinity Gauntlet, which is supposed to be one of the most powerful artifacts in the goddamn known universe, and he just like melted it and took the stones out. Like, that was kind of dumb. But like seeing him like become self-aware and like I love that in Doctor Strange too, where they just kind of like become so powerful, like they can recognize this entity that exists outside of their universe.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I made this joke after watching that episode that if Vision wasn't so preoccupied with trying to kill himself all throughout Infinity War, he could have prevented the whole Thanos crisis.
Yeah,
because apparently it's super easy. Just cut him in half.
Yeah.
Done. Let's go home. I think that's lunch, everybody. But yeah, I think both of the Ultron episodes were really cool. The Killmonger Tony Stark episode was really cool. Strange Supreme was I like that one a lot. I mean, I think I don't know if there were any truly bad episodes. I like the one that least interested me was Star-Lord T'Challa. The meh episodes were Captain Carter and Zombies and Party Thor. So those are like the 3 tiers I would put. So you've got the great ones, those 4, the 2 Ultron ones, Killmonger and Strange Supreme. The meh ones, those 3, Captain Carter, Zombies, and Party Thor. And then you've got, for me at least, you know, a little bit below that was T'Challa, Star-Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all of them. I think was there only 8? I think there was only 8.
I thought there were 9.
Oh no, there were 9. What am I missing?
It was Captain Carter. Then it was T'Challa, Star-Lord.
Oh, what if Earth lost its mightiest heroes? That one. That one, honestly, I liked that one. I really liked that one. That one was
interesting. I actually wasn't as hyped about that one.
It wasn't my favorite, but I did like it a lot. That was actually
I liked the concept. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
But at least for me, it didn't have as much of a wow factor. As like the Zombies did. For me personally. Yeah. I mean, that's just.
Yeah, for me, that was actually the episode where I started watching the series. I kind of sat back for the first couple of weeks, but I jumped in at that one, and I liked it a lot. It was I liked it because it was really just like an espionage thriller. Like there wasn't a lot of super powered heroics going on, and it was a genuinely interesting mystery. Like you've got Earth's mightiest heroes, right? Yet they're getting killed off like it's nothing.
Yeah,
and also it ended in a cool place with like Asgard taking over and Loki becoming the new president of the world. like that was really fun. So yeah, I liked that one a lot. But anyway, this was essentially our what if review, everybody. There you go. We don't have to do an episode now. We just did it. So
yeah, I also there kind of a quick tangent, but with the Ultimate Ultron, like one thing I didn't like is that he was able to become that powerful with the one set of Infinity Stones. I thought that was kind of dumb because that seemed to make the Infinity Stones seem a lot more powerful than they actually are in the main MCU timeline. But the other thing is, like, why didn't he also continue collecting the Infinity Stones of, like, every universe he visited?
Yeah.
That would have been really interesting.
That's a good question. Is there a force multiplier for the Infinity Stones? Is there like a power multiplier? That would be really cool. It seems like if I had to guess, the answer is no.
That because they were like, oh, we have the Infinity Stone Crusher. Oh no, it doesn't work on these stones because it's meant for the stones of a different universe. It's like,
exactly, yeah.
You're crushing rocks. Shut up. Like,
I mean, just the revelation that there is a machine that can destroy the Infinity Stones in the first place is news enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that was it would be cool if it did work that way, but even then, you also have to think about, now we have the TVA angle, because the TVA is outside of the time stream entirely, and the stones are useless there.
Yeah, so. I felt like, I mean, if they're going with the rules that, like, each universe has its own set of Infinity Stones, that, like, I feel like they should only work in that universe. I think that would have been really interesting, is, like, every time Ultron invades a new universe, he has to recollect the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
Would have been a really interesting angle, but...
totally, yeah. So, so I guess, in summary, for What If Season 2, I liked What If. I liked it more than I thought I was going to. The quality of the episodes, at least for me, or at least my enjoyment of them, did vary pretty, it could vary pretty widely from week to week, but on the whole, I liked what we got. And in Season 2, what I'm hoping is, and they've already said this, is in Season 2, now they can start drawing from Phase 4 storylines, from Shang-Chi and the Eternals, and all the MCU shows. And I'm really excited to see more of that. I'd love to see reinterpretations of, well, just everything, really. I'd like to see maybe maybe doing different genre stuff with the Westview Hex, or putting or maybe what if Katie became the wielder of the 10 rings? That would be pretty cool.
Would it?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think that'd be all right. Or maybe we can do more stuff with the TVA. What if the TVA had never stolen Sylvie from her Asgard? And what if she had just been allowed to go on and do her thing? Like, these are all concepts I'd love to explore in Season 2. Yeah. So I'm definitely excited for that. I am Groot. So, okay. I mean, you have Moon Knight, which is going to be the dark psychological thriller. You've got She-Hulk, which is going to be more of this self-referential, legal, procedural comedy. Miss Marvel's going to be more of like the teen, low-level show. I Am Groot, I mean, this is just a kid's show.
Yeah,
right? This is now
Cocomelon for
literally, we are, this is our first time where we're just going unabashed. This is a children's program. Yeah. So, yeah, I really doubt I'm going to watch
not much
that.
to say. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, I mean, no offense, I know Groot is adorable. We all love him, but is he really that interesting of a character?
I miss adult Groot from the first Guardians.
Yeah,
and I hope he's back to full size for Guardians 3.
Exactly, because adult Groot would just straight up murder people.
Yeah, just a giant behemoth.
Yeah, just a giant violent tree. But yeah, baby Groot, I mean, not only is it a baby cartoon character, but it's a baby cartoon character who canonically only can say 3 words.
Yeah.
So how much can we do with that, really?
Do you think this show is gonna have subtitles?
I think it'll have to. All I could think of for this is how in the Star Wars Christmas special we met Chewbacca, and Chewbacca has his own family, the Chewbacca family, and they're they're doing their thing. I think that's what this is gonna be. It's gonna be the Groot family or whatever. Groot's early days. So yeah, that's gonna be a kids show. I don't think that's for us.
Yeah.
Ironheart.
This was a this is based on a more recent Marvel Comics character.
Yeah.
He was basically a young black teen that reverse
named,
engineers the Iron Man suit. What is she named again?
Yeah,
It's
Riri
Rory?
Williams.
Yeah,
Riri Williams, who is pretty much just the Miss Marvel for Iron Man. You know, it's the same thing.
Yeah, and
she
a lot of
idolizes
people
Iron Man.
weren't really happy with that. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was pretty controversial. It's pretty mixed.
Yeah. Which I mean, I think that this is definitely. I mean, it's just like I really don't know. Honestly, I would be lying if I said I was hyped to see Ironheart. It could be good, but
here's the thing. Iron Man was the core and foundation of the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
He cannot be replaced in any way whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I think for a lot of people, this feels like they're trying to replace him with a black teenager.
And that's the thing.
And no hate against like representation, but like give us some original, superheroes that can actually give us better representation instead of just.
And I think that's the thing, is that I think that that's a very reasonable reaction to have if they try to play it as a replacement.
Yeah.
I think that if they try to play it as this is, we are redoing Iron Man, but now it's Riri Williams, it's not going to be received well. But I think, because obviously Kevin Feige, as the grand poobah of the MCU, he understands how foundational Tony Stark is to the MCU. I mean, literally, there would be no MCU without Iron Man. So I trust him to understand that you can't do it as a replacement. You can only do it as a successor to Iron Man. I think if they play it as a successor to, then it'll be fine. But if it's a replacement, then it's not going to do well.
Very adamant about, okay, this is just so we have another person for Young Avengers. Like if this actually sets up Young Avengers, I think that'll make a lot more sense.
Yeah, and honestly,
introducing this character, but
and that's the thing, is that with all of this year's Disney Plus shows, WandaVision, Loki, What If, and Falcon Winter Soldier and Hawkeye, we've talked about this before. Every one of those shows has a very clear angle. Even if it's not immediately obvious, every one of those shows has that that genre angle or that thematic angle that sets it apart. It's not just about those characters; it's putting those characters in a certain scenario that evokes the kind of the Fast and Furious buddy cop thing, or the kind of psychological thriller, or the time travel, kind of weird gonzo comedy, or the Christmas themed, setting.
Die Hard,
the Die Hard Christmas thing. So I think that, for all of the next year's shows, as we were just discussing, they all also have that angle.
Yeah.
What will Ironheart's angle be? Because like Hawkeye, it's not immediately clear just from the title and the concept what it's going to be. But as we now see, Hawkeye has a very clear angle. And so this needs to have an angle. As you said, that's beyond just we need another character for the Young Avengers. And if they handle that well, then it'll be fine. If they handle that well and do it as a successor to Tony Stark, then it'll be fine. But my question is, and I've always wondered this, why do we have an Ironheart show and an Armor Wars show? Like, it really seems like we should just have one.
Are we getting an Armor Wars show?
Yeah, Armor Wars is still happening with Rhodey. And I really don't know why those are two separate things. Like, it seems like they should just really just be the same thing.
Yeah.
Because the concept for Armor Wars is we're going to explore the consequences when Tony Stark's tech falls into the wrong hands. But that was Iron Man 1, and Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 3, and also Spider-Man Homecoming, and also Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
And, really, like, half of the MCU movies, and also Avengers Age of Ultron. Like, so many of these movies is, like, what happens if Tony Stark's tech gets into the wrong hands. We don't need to explore that further in its own MCU Disney Plus show with Rhodey. We know what happens. So many of the villains come from that. So it seems like introduce Ironheart in Armor Wars or do an Armor Wars storyline in Ironheart. But you don't need two separate things. Like, we're so retreading the same ground with both of those. I'm still holding out hope that they just merge those two into one show because it's not necessary. You know, still call it Ironheart, but just do the Armor Wars storyline with Riri Williams. That's fine, you know, and Rhodey can still be there too. You know, there's nothing that says that Don Cheadle can't show up. Like, get him in here. Like, in fact, that makes more sense. Have War Machine, you know, the person, like Tony Stark's best friend, the person who knew him, you know, one of the people that knew him the best, mentor a kind of successor to the Iron Man legacy. Yeah. That makes sense. So I don't know why they're two separate things. Yeah, so Secret Invasion. Yeah, I mean, cool, good. I like it. We're getting some big name actors to come in. Obviously both established people in the MCU and new people, so that's cool. Obviously getting more of Nick Fury is great. Love that. I think it's just going to be a cool, like, espionage thriller. You know, who can you trust? Who do we know has been a Skrull the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Here's the thing that confuses me, is that, you know, we've determined that the Skrulls are the good guys, and, you know, they've been working with S.H.I.E.L.D. to form SWORD and the giant space station. So what is the plot of Secret Invasion? Are the Skrulls like suddenly the bad guys again and they're trying to take over? Or
well, I think that's the thing, is that you're going to have subsets. So you have the Skrulls that we met in Captain Marvel, who are actually kind of nice and friendly and are just like refugees looking for a new home. But there are still malevolent Skrulls out there who have been infiltrating the whole time, who are baddies and who are trying to, you know, work to their own nefarious ends. So I think that's what you're going to have, is that in Secret Invasion you're going to have the nice Skrulls from Captain Marvel, like Talos and his crew, but you're also going to have bad Skrulls who have been essentially, you know, again, they've been replacing known characters, you know, people that we've known for a long time, you know, maybe going all the way back to the first Iron Man. You know, I've heard people saying that maybe Happy Hogan is a Skrull, maybe Hank Pym is a Skrull, maybe, you know, anybody could be a Skrull. That's kind of the fun part of Secret Invasion. So, you know, in terms of who I think could be a Skrull, I've always said that I think that Thaddeus Ross, I think he could be a Skrull. Keep your eye on him. I could see, I don't know.
I think people in positions of power, but who aren't like scientists or superpowered themselves.
I think maybe, this would be really fun. Justin Hammer is a Skrull. That would be fun.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's gonna be a lot of fun just to see, you know, who's a Skrull and who can you trust. So, yeah, cool. That'll be a good one. Okay, back to Agatha, House of Harkness. Outside of, obviously, the big three that we got first looks for, this is the one I'm most excited for. Honestly, like, I was so skeptical of the idea of doing spin-off shows of the MCU shows, which are themselves spin-offs of what's happening in the movies. But of all of the spin-off characters that we could give their own show to, I want to see more of Agatha Harkness. Yeah.
She's really good. And the whole, like, Witches Coven background, very unexplored. Yes. I mean, we got maybe 5 minutes in WandaVision.
Yeah. I mean, Catherine Hahn was just so good, and she had so much fun with that role. I mean, she really was. I mean, we said this in our very first episode of our WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier review. She was my MVP of that series. I just, you know, she stole every scene she was in. And like you said, I mean, we really are now starting to explore more and more of the eldritch dark magic kind of side of the MCU. We obviously with WandaVision, we got a bit of that in Eternals. We're going to get more of that in Blade and Moon Knight. And now this, you know, and I'd love to see more, because I mean, remember, she was at like the Salem witch trials, so she's been around for 400 years. Like, you know, kind of like the Eternals. I want to see what she's been up to in all that time. You know, what misadventure she's been getting into. What
That'd actually be
deals
really
does she
fun.
have with dark forces?
Kind of like WandaVision, each episode is like a new decade.
Yeah, like
Or
that'd
like
be
a
awesome.
new just kind of set of years, new time period.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd love that. And I mean, just because we know that she's got, obviously Mephisto didn't work out in WandaVision, but we know she's got connections with the kind of the dark underbelly side of the spiritual stuff. She
How
had
did
the
she
dark
discover
hold.
the Darkhold? How did she get her hands on it?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. Like, yeah, so very excited for that. I know it's probably not coming anytime soon, but I'm gonna be tuning in. I mean, let's be honest, this is effectively going to be a WandaVision season 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't do an actual WandaVision season 2, but this is the next best thing.
Yeah.
So very excited for that. That's why I wanted to save that to the end, because yeah, that's definitely kind of my breakout winner here. So let's, because we love making lists and making tiers, let's do 3 tiers: hyped, meh, not hyped. X-Men 97,
not hyped.
not hyped. Echo, I'm gonna say meh, because we haven't even met that character yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna say meh. I've never heard of that character.
Yeah.
But, it's another, like, grounded, real actor, adult superhero show. So,
yeah.
at least meh.
Yeah, so we'll say meh. Spider-Man freshman year.
Not hyped.
Yeah, not hyped.
Kid show, not hyped.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, not hyped. Agatha, House of Harkness, hyped.
Yep.
Marvel Zombies.
Meh.
Yeah, yeah, meh. I hope they just start fresh and don't continue on from What If Zombies. She-Hulk, hyped. I mean, I think for all 3 of the big 3, hyped.
Yeah.
What If Season 2? Yeah, I'm gonna say hyped. Yeah, I am hyped for that. Would you say hyped for that?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, I Am Groot, not hyped.
Nope.
that's gonna be even more of a kids show than Spider-Man
not.
freshman year. Ironheart.
I need to see more. I need to see more.
That really is like wait and see. Like that could easily be either not hyped or meh. And Secret Invasion.
Honestly,
hyped.
For me, it's meh until I see more.
Okay,
That's another one where like I need to see how they're actually gonna. Because I also thought Secret Invasion was gonna be a movie, not a show.
Yeah.
Because if it's just a show and they don't really have any of the main heroes in it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say hyped. I haven't seen anything from it yet that would discourage me or think that it won't be good, so I'll say hyped. But yeah, that was Marvel at Disney Plus Day. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's good stuff, but it's just not a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's, a grand total of 90 seconds of new footage and title reveals, which are cool. It's good to see what's upcoming, but like so much of the stuff is going to be so far away. Like everything that isn't in She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel is going to be 2023 or later. It's almost like I don't want to know about it if it's more than a year and a half out.
Yeah.
If it's not going to be ready at some point
in the near future, hyped for so long.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you forget about it, you get bored, and then you see the trailer and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, that's coming
Instead of like, whoa, that looks cool. It's like, oh yeah, cool.
Exactly. That's like us. That's like something that was announced in like 2018 or 2019, just coming out now. It's like, it's like, how long?
I'm a different person now. Like you can't.
Exactly.
No, that's too long.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. But ultimately, in terms of these big 3, big like trailer release events, honestly, I thought that Disney Plus Day would have been the biggest, and I think it's actually ended up being the smallest.
I was honestly kind of. I straight up did not. It happened like 2 or 3 days ago. I texted you saying like, oh, they released a couple of like Marvel things and stuff. We should like record since it's been a little while since Disney Plus Day. And then I looked up when Disney Plus Day was, and it was literally like the day before I texted you, and I was like, oh, I just had no idea this happened.
Yeah,
I assumed honestly, it was like a week ago, because the amount of buzz seemed to be at the level of a week's trail off, not the day after. So
Exactly. Yeah. So
I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah. Honestly, I think that for me, DC Fandom did it. Like I've been thinking about
Yeah.
it since we did that video. That Batman trailer is the best trailer I've
That
seen
Batman
in a long
trailer
time.
and the Flash teaser.
Yes.
Both
Yeah.
really cool.
I mean, honestly, like I thought that, because obviously it's Spider-Man No Way Home, like we went crazy for that. And that's a fantastic trailer. But I have by far rewatched the Batman trailer more than I rewatched the Spider-Man trailer.
It's just so
like,
pretty.
It's unbelievable.
Beautiful.
It really is. I mean, the music, it looks so good. I mean, it's just like it feels like this is the Batman story that we've been waiting for so long.
Yeah.
Like, obviously
this
we love.
Could be the next Dark Knight. Like,
It really could be.
I hope it is.
It really, really could be. Like, it's looking so promising. So, yeah, that trailer and that whole event, I think, is just that kind of set. I was talking about gold standards and 10 out of 10s. Like, that trailer was a 10 out of 10, and DC Fandom as a whole was very well executed.
Yeah.
So, that's at least one area where I think DC is currently kind of ahead of Marvel. But
the
next
one singular area.
Yeah, but I mean, next year we're getting. I mean, again, it's so crazy because we're getting 3 MCU shows. We're getting 1, 2, 3 movies, 3 or 4. We're getting Doctor Strange. We're getting Thor 4, and we're getting Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it because the Marvels got pushed back. So
was there no? Yeah, I guess they haven't announced Captain America 4.
Yeah, that's not announced yet.
No, like, Avengers thing lined up.
No, yeah, that's kind of Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
too, pretty much.
Kind of.
So yeah, so we're getting 3 new MCU series, 3 new movies. DC is they're having Peacemaker, and they'll probably do more series, and they're doing like 4 movies because they're doing Black Adam, they're doing the Flash, they're doing the Batman, and one more. Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
So so it's gonna be insane. Like it's gonna be such a crazy year.
We're gonna be very busy.
Yes, we are. But I think that's it for Disney Plus Day.
Yeah.
I have to admit that I had already watched the footage before we recorded this video, so this is not the first time I saw it, but this was the first time you saw it.
Yes.
So did it live up, at least for what it was?
No, because there was not enough.
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
think Moon Knight, that was a really good look. She-Hulk, also good look, but much less. And then Miss Marvel, even less than that. Yeah, that's the problem with teasers, is that sometimes they just, or first looks, they don't give you enough to really be truly hyped about it.
Absolutely. I agree completely.
I'm excited for all of them. I'm definitely going to watch all of them. But I really want to see, for what was supposed to be a big event, we should have gotten just a full-length trailer.
At least a teaser.
From
at
something.
least a teaser.
Yeah.
Like, especially if Moon Knight's coming out early next year, like, just give us a teaser.
Yeah.
It looks like it's almost finished or finished. So
yeah,
just, like, give us something.
That was the closest we got to, like, a teaser.
Yeah.
But just give us a full-length teaser or, like, a trailer, please. Just one.
Honestly, yeah. So, but one last note I wanted to say on Disney Plus Day, and that one piece of footage that we didn't see here was we got a little bit more footage on Hawkeye, and I gotta say that the first teaser I think kind of caught us off guard a little bit. We weren't really sure what to make of it. Definitely the Christmas Die Hard thing was unexpected, but the more that I've seen from it in terms of new promos and that new footage that we got, which was just a very short glimpse, but it was this awesome like tracking shot of Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. They're like in this car chase outrunning the tracksuit Draculas.
Yeah.
It just looked really cool. And
I assume that's the scene where like she picks up the explosive arrow.
Yeah, the trick arrow.
It's like an extension of that from the first teaser. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, and it's this really cool continuous shot where the camera is moving around, and I want to say that I'm definitely more hyped for Hawkeye now, a lot more hyped actually. I think that the Die Hard thing is going to be very cool, and I'm now that I'm kind of braced for it, I'm a lot more excited for it than I was coming off that first teaser.
Especially with
so.
Jeremy Renner, because he can be a really funny actor. So
I just pray to God he doesn't rap in this. As long as he keeps his rap out of this, we'll be fine. Yeah, Disney Plus Day. I think that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts?
No. Give us more next time. Come on, Disney. Yeah. You're a juggernaut. You should know better. You should do better.
Yeah. And as promised, we just got an hour of content out of 90 seconds of footage. So
we did it.
That's us.
Oh, we need help.
Feels good to be a Marvel show.
Yeah.
All right.
Still waiting on that check, but
yes.
It's fine. It's
yeah, no, it's okay. We've got time.
We're paying you with our movie tickets, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's all right. Well, thank you all so much, as always, for joining us for this observation reactions. And yeah, good to be back, and we will speak to you again very soon with some new stuff. We've got we're going to finish out the year with some really exciting stuff. So speak to you then. Goodbye.